So pretty early on, he's like, "You should come see me. You should come and see me." I'm like, "Okay, like I can't go see you." He's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Bro, I just got out of prison like 5 years ago."
We're a paycheck to the system, Law enforcement in the streets, the COs, the wardens, the counselors, we're a paycheck to them because without us, they wouldn't have a job.
I got 16 months with half, so I did 8 months. I was pregnant while I was there, and I gave birth to my third son while I was incarcerated, actually.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. I'm your friendly host, Gigi, here, and I'm here with
your friendly host, Paige. Hi, everyone. Or should we say,
Hey, y'all.
hi, friends.
Hi, friends. How we doing? Well, welcome back. We have an amazing episode for you guys. This is episode 10, and we are going to be interviewing Lynette and Angel. And I'm going to let Paige tell us a little bit about them. They are a couple that just had a homecoming this past month in April. So I'm going to let Paige tell us a little bit about Lynette and Angel.
Yeah, so my little hi friends reference in the beginning there was for Lynette. So anyone who might not be familiar with Love During Lockup might be familiar with Lynette just from TikTok. She has amazing energy and she is fantastic at slamming down on the prison and prison wife haters that like to step out of line. I love to watch her roasts. She is an amazing woman. Her and her husband have been married for quite a long time together on this journey. So happy that they said yes, and they're the first people that we have now interviewed for our podcast. And that will play just in a few minutes after we go through our little spiel, and you guys will get to see some of that. So I'm really excited that they agreed to do that with us and that we can share some of that with you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to them. All right, but before we start our interview with them, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, BeyondBarsImaging.com. All right, guys, this is a wonderful website and on Instagram, Beyond Bars Imaging, if you can reach out there. And this is a great opportunity for you to make your prison photos not so prisony, or to have a merge if you can't take pictures and you have two separate people that you want to merge, or lots of separate people you want to merge. Paige is a genius at putting these pictures together, making your backgrounds not look like a facility, changing your clothing, all of that stuff. Please go check out Beyond Bars Imaging and beyondbarsimaging.com and get at Paige if you have a request and what you would like. She will do anything that you would like her to do. So please try and hit her up in the DMs or go to the website and put in a request. Beyond Bars Imaging and beyondbarsimaging.com. Anyway, sorry, I had to give it all I had there.
It.
All right. So we're going to do our little segs before we get into our interview with Lynette and Angel. We're going to go into, you ready? Ooh wee. What up with that? What up with that legislation? All right.
The way that Joe always gets that stuck in his head after he listens
you'll
to the
sing
pod.
it all day.
Yep. I love it.
All right, guys. Well, hey, our biggest badass criminal justice reform advocate, Kim K, is back in action. We saw her visit the White House when former President Trump was in. Well, she's back, y'all. And she's talking with Vice President Kamala Harris about criminal justice reform. And she obviously was looking at announcing a new rule from the Small Business Administration that lifts some restrictions on loans for people with criminal records. So I think she was there to advocate. Obviously, in the past, she's been there for advocating for pardons, and trying to get people out of the idea of mass incarceration and things like that. But here, she was meeting with Miss Kamala Harris, and hopefully would come about getting more reforms for incarcerated individuals and also formerly incarcerated individuals. Paige, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
No, I will say she's definitely not my favorite person either. So I know probably a few eyes rolled after they heard Kim Kardashian. I'm part of that majority. I understand that she's a pain, but I will say I have learned and I understand that it's her getting involved and putting her face attached to different reform. It is good. It's not doing more harm. So I am glad that she is still, sticking to that and still helping with reform. I know she's really involved in the group reform too. So hopefully she keeps at that.
And I'm just happy that someone's using their fame to do good things, especially for criminal justice reform, because, it's such a taboo topic for famous people. So kudos to Kim for going to the White House to talk about more, possibly more criminal justice reforms that are needed federally in the system. So, and she also brings spotlights to a lot of cases that need for people to speak out. So she's using her voice for good, and we appreciate that. So yeah, go Kim K. Keep going to the White House, boo. Keep tweeting, keep
getting people
doing
out
it
of
all,
prison.
because that's the end goal in mass incarceration for sure. So now we're gonna get into our interview with Lynette and Angel. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, or leave us a comment on Spotify or Apple, or hit us up on our Gmail, prisonwifepod@gmail.com, or our Insta. You can always hit us up in the DMs. Drop us a DM, y'all. All right, so enjoy.
Hi, everyone.
That was gross.
We got some special guests with us
Hi.
today, as you can see. Maybe we can introduce them and let them introduce themselves.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm Angel, Lynette's husband.
It's Lynette Barrios, Babe 11. Hi.
I like that introduction. Lynette's husband. That's great.
Oh yeah.
We're so happy that you guys are here as our first guest ever on our podcast. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us and talk with us. For your charity work. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Sure. It's an honor to be here, honestly.
Oh, thank y'all.
You said this is your first podcast?
No, we're the first. We're like their first.
Oh, ours first. Yeah.
First guest.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. It's our 10th episode, first guest. So we're excited to have you guys here.
I probably should let Angel listen to a couple of your podcasts first, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even know about this. She just said, "Hey, we got something to do at 3," and I'm like, "What is it?" And then I was like, "All right." So here I am.
You guys had some practice lately. I saw on TikTok. You guys have been going live and stuff. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, and I'm normally not. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not really a big fan of going live at all. I don't do it much at all, and it has really been nice to have him because we kind of just feed off of each other. I feel really comfortable with him, so it hasn't been nerve-wracking for me. You know?
Oh, that's awesome. Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about your relationship, how you met? Fill everyone in who hasn't maybe as familiar with you guys as we are.
We met back in 2014 on Facebook. So he popped up on my feed on, that people you may know or whatever, because we did have a few friends in common because we are from the same town. I could tell by his profile picture that he was incarcerated. I mean, he was in a cell. So it's pretty obvious. I know what the inside of his cell looks like, obviously. And so I just clicked add, and he says that he slid into my DMs, but I could have swore that I slid into his. I mean, I could be wrong. I think he hit me up like, do I know you? And it kind of just started from there. And we really were just friends. Like, obviously, because I'm like, oh, he's just a kid, Like, I think, how old were you back then?
21, 22.
We're 11 years apart. And so we just hit it off. We were really good friends for a while. But it did escalate pretty quick. You know, the prison I love you takes place like 10 times quicker than the street I love you.
That's
You know
Oh
what I
all
yeah.
in
mean? It takes
all.
you a good time out
Uh-huh.
here
Uh-huh.
to say that you love you to someone, but in prison it's like the third day, I love you so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
You're just talking all the
The I
time.
love yous come very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have any of those distractions from the outside when you're meeting someone and talking. So it's just very much one on one. So that relationship develops really, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Want to tell me about you being in a relationship kind of when we met?
What do you mean?
Not a relationship, but maybe an entanglement.
Love that.
Oh no, I mean, because at the time, I was married, but I wasn't with my wife. You know, we had already separated, but I was still legally married. But I mean, I had already spoke to her and told her like, yeah, you know, like we're not together, we're just married. But that was it. You know, just something that was legally on paper, and that commitment was there, but it was nothing really. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was at the time I had access to, you know, communicate through social media and stuff like that. So that's when I started just venturing out, and that's how I met her. I ran across her page, and then I'm pretty sure I sent her a message, and that's how we met. But yeah, you know, one thing led to another, and then we started talking more and more.
No. And then you just went to go visit,
That's so
or
awesome.
were you just like, I'm all in?
No, so pretty early on, he's like, "You should come see me. You should come and see me." I'm like, "Okay, like I can't go see you." He's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Bro, I just got out of prison like 5 years ago, 4 years ago." So this was by the time he was like, "Come see me," it was early 2015, end of 2014. I paroled from prison in 2010. I'm like, there's no way, and he was really adamant. I'm like, "Are you dumb? Like I don't understand. Like they're not going to clear me to see you." He's like, "Well, I'm going to send you a visiting application anyways." I was like, "Okay." And I did not send it back for a while because I'm like, I don't know what this guy's thinking. Like, they're never going to clear me to see him. I'm pretty much fresh out too, in my opinion, you know? And then by the time I got it and I hung on to it for a while, I was like, I'm going to fill it out. Like, I would really like to meet him in person. And I filled it out. I turned it back in. And of course I got denied. But then I'm like, at that point, I was like, oh, I'm appealing it. Like, I'm going to see this guy. I wrote a letter to the warden. I turned in like, back in the day, Sacramento would send you like this letter from the state, and you could almost like I think you could even punch it out, almost like a social security card. And it was a discharge of certificate, meaning that you discharged for parole. I attached a copy of that. I wrote a letter. I wrote the visiting lieutenant or sergeant or whatnot. And then I got this notification. He called me one day. Well, let me back up a little bit. We ended up kind of falling out in between that time. I did find out that he was still kind of communicating with his wife, and I'm like, oh, I think we're in different places. Like this is how old I am. This is my level of expectations in a relationship. I'm not a little kid. I have 4 kids of my own. I'm not doing this. And then by that time, just the level of communication between he and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And then one day he calls me and he's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, you got approved to visit. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I was literally just like a roll of the dice. I really didn't think in my heart that it was ever going to happen. And then that kind of was confirmation to me. Like, I need to meet this guy in person.
Oh my God.
I guess.
Yeah, and what she's not throwing in there is it wasn't like days later, weeks later. Like literally, it was months later.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It was a
It
process.
was a process. Like, you know, like I want to say I got that approval like 6 months later after she had wrote the letter to the warden and all that, you know. So
It's like
it was a while.
spring, April, May, maybe.
It was months.
Yeah, it was months.
Wow. I'm so glad that you appealed it, though. I hear so many good things about people appealing those denials and having success.
Yeah, I mean, had I never appealed it or followed through with it, like I feel like where would I be at in my life right now if I didn't have Angel?
That is so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. You know what I mean? Like if you just didn't do that, if you're like, okay.
Yeah. And some people, I know people have this perception of what being a prison wife is like, and that it'd be a burden. But Angel has saved me in so many ways, like in so many ways.
That I love that. We say the same thing about our husbands. Like everyone's like, "Oh, they're like my son's father, that's someone who maybe should be locked up in prison." And that's when you compare that to someone in prison, they're like, "Oh, well, this one's better because he's not." And it's like you have no idea, and you're just, it's small thinking.
Right.
But wow. Okay, I don't think I knew that you were in prison.
Yeah, I spent, a small amount of time. I think I got 16 months with half, so I did 8 months. I was pregnant while I was there, and I gave birth to my third son while I was incarcerated, actually.
Wow. Did they have any like special like place for you to go and like give birth or?
The hospital, which coincidentally at the time we had two women's. At the town where I'm born and raised in that county, we have two women's prisons. Now it's one. They turned one into a men's prison. So the hospital is actually the hospital. Had I been free, I would have delivered at anyways. But still, I did it while I was incarcerated. They transport me there. I have the baby within 24 hours. I'm back in the facility. I don't have the baby with me. So it was really. It's wild to think about. It's really wild to think about. Yeah. In hindsight, you know what I mean?
Wow. That's a lot. I can't imagine the emotions.
Right. I know.
Wow. Angel, when did you enter the system? Is this like the first time you're out?
Yeah, this is the first time. Well, I was incarcerated for 11 years, a little bit over 11 years. So I went in January 2013, and then I didn't get out until April 2024. So I was incarcerated, but before that, I went to like county jail a couple times and stuff like that, but nothing serious, like not any like hard time in prison. So yeah, I was locked up that whole time straight.
Wow.
You were like 19, right?
Yeah,
19?
I was 19, didn't get out till I was 30. No.
Never went to juvenile hall.
Well, I did, but once for like days. And
just kidding.
That doesn't really count,
It's terrible the way that they incarcerate young kids for life. It's disgusting, especially in California.
No, and it's at 19, 10 years, 2 strikes. Is it 2 strikes and a silent strike?
No, it's just 2 strikes.
2 strikes. It's like for something that, look, I'm a firm believer, especially now that I'm a bit older. Like if you do the crime, you pay the time, but within it's got to be reasonable. You know what I mean? When other guys are doing horrific things to children and they get a slap on the wrist and they get probation and it's just ridiculous in my opinion. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what it's people like that like turn up the recidivism rate and then they use that as an excuse. And it's like, no, show me it for the long term, people, I know a lot of guys get out and get involved into all of those things, whether it's through like ARC or other foundations. Do you have any want to do that or interest?
As of right now, I thought about it before it came out, but right now that I'm out here, and I got my wife right here, I got a lot of opportunity to work around right here, I already had I got a few friends that are offering me jobs. Right now I'm just getting everything lined up to where I don't have to depend on getting a ride there or anything like that. I just got a vehicle, so now I got to get my license. I've been out 3 weeks, so coming out, I didn't have any documents, nothing. So I had to get my ID, I had to get my social security, I had to get everything that I need, I can't just apply for a job somewhere right now, without any of that stuff, so I need everything. And then hopefully by next week, I go take my test, driver's test, all that. And then I'll be good to go. So I'm probably just going to work, get a job around here,
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
I don't know how spiritual or religious anyone is, and I don't want to get holy on anyone, but we went to church this week and last week. And last week a pastor and his wife came up to Angel and started speaking over him and talking, and me and being his wife, and she kept saying, the two of you are finally together and it's your season together and you won't be apart anymore. And so I keep looking at Angel these people are from
Moreno Valley.
Were they from Moreno Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah. And And Angel doesn't understand what she's saying because I'm like, these people do not follow us on TikTok because I am not for that's not my crowd or my niche, you know. And then they start talking about what he's been through and how his testimony is going to reach the youth and how he's going to mentor the youth. And I'm thinking, here I am thinking that I'm this TikTok star or whatever, and and I'm like, no, God's just using me to pave the way because it's my husband who's going to be the one doing all the work. And I think that I know that he has this calling on his life. We haven't seen it come to light yet. You know what I mean? I think so. I think his testimony is awesome. And then mine kind of is in a way too. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that God's going to use Angel in this amazing way. I really do. But I did just think it's going to be all in his timing.
I love that. That's beautiful. And that's why I love that saying that's like, when you're given those struggles, it's to show one day so you can help show someone who's stuck in that. And that's so true for even the guys that my husband counsels in his groups. Like, they don't want to listen to the free staff that are in there helping. They want to talk to the guys that have been through the stuff and can relate to them.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, that's another thing. Like, like being out, I got a lot of family, like my sisters and their kids and stuff. We got the kids here. Like, my objective is to make sure that I could give them any advice. Like I could actually share my experience with them and make them realize, that the lifestyle that some are walking or think that they want to walk is actually not what it is, and just at the end of the day, like when you're young and you're a teenager or you're doing stuff that you're not really thinking about it, you don't have responsibilities, you don't see the grave importance behind what can happen, and at the end of the day, like, I love all of them, so I'm gonna share my thoughts and my point of views, to what they should be doing, like going to school and paying attention and doing all that. That's gonna pay off, not being out there in the streets getting in trouble. That's just going backwards. Like firsthand experience, I could tell them that,
And it really is just youth. Like, it starts. I mean, I was on the streets and into drugs by the time I was 14. We were just running the streets at a young age. So my kids are 12, 13, and 15. My oldest is 24, but my kids are young. Like, this is the time for us to make an impact on what our kids are doing, to make sure that we're good role models for our children.
For sure. I feel like being so aware of that too is like such a big thing. Like your kids are set, honestly.
I hope so. They're good kids.
They're good kids.
Yeah, I mean, they're a pain in my ass sometimes, but at the end of the day, like, I tell him, I'm like, I know little things lately, little confirmations that my kids, the times that I've struggled, it's because I'm fighting for my kids. I'm fighting for my kids to have a better life than I did, and it's been worth it.
Love that. Angel, what do you think has been, I know it's only been 3 weeks, but what do you think for you has been like the toughest part of adjusting?
The toughest part of adjustment, honestly, like I'm not trying to sound like cocky or nothing like that, but
he's doing so good.
To me, this
he's
is
doing
like
such ridiculous.
I feel like I should have got out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, like I was just sitting there just waiting to get out. But I mean, honestly, the hardest thing is probably like the technology. The technology nowadays, like everything's about technology. Just like that's what it is, Like at least like 11 years ago, not everything was about technology, Like no one even carries money on them, cash. Like everything's like just paying through your phone and all that. Like those are probably the only things that are kind of like, okay, I gotta get. Oh, like when I drive too. Like sometimes I don't know where I'm going because
he's not driving.
No, I mean,
just kidding.
Sometimes I don't know where I'm going.
Oh,
like a lot of things. There's new buildings. There's new shopping centers. There's new streets, more houses. So it's just like, okay, like just imagine moving somewhere and you first get there and you don't know where nothing's at. So I mean, I never stayed right here where we're staying at in this town, but even when we go back to Madera, where I was at, a lot of things are different. Like the places that I do know, like I could get around and all that.
They're very different though.
You know, like that's probably one of the things that I'm adjusting to right now.
We went to a restaurant and it had that soda machine where you click the soda.
Yep.
And then Dr. Pepper, 4 different and he's just like standing there. He's like, bro, what?
Because okay, I remember the soda machines that have like the Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Orange. You just go and put your cup, you get your soda, right? This one you gotta click all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like, if it wasn't on, I wouldn't even have known that was a soda machine. Honestly, like
It's like this huge.
that's what I mean by like technology. Yeah, things are different.
In my opinion, look, I don't condone this in any way, shape, or form because the last 3 years that Angel was down, we were not. Because I'm like, look, we're getting family visits now. There's no way that I want you to get caught with the cell phone. It's just not worth it. You're going to get your date taken away. It's not fucking worth it. I will not be okay with you having one, period. So we did without. But before, the way that these guys have access to like the outside world now, it kind of just helps them adapt. And now we've strayed away from that and we have tablets. And so it's made them a little more knowledgeable in that area with just apps and downloading apps and transferring money. Because if they didn't have that, can you imagine some of these guys that have been down twice as long as Angel? And if they come out, I always talk, I say it jokingly, but like Brooks from Shawshank Redemption, like that guy literally got locked up, and when he came out, he just could not adjust, you know? And that's real life for some of these men and women. It really is. So the tablets is definitely a step in the right direction for them to be able to adapt a little more when they're released.
That's so true, because even like with the music, like my husband's been able to like listen to some music that he hasn't heard in a while, and he also knows the news. Like the way he reads TMZ and stuff, he'll be like, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, "No."
Celebrity news. I was like, I don't even have time for that.
He's like all up in it.
That's the same thing that I was doing. Like everybody, like right now that they did start giving the tablets out, everybody does the same thing. Like, so, you know, you go to the yard and then everybody's talking about the same things, you know, like, but it's cool, you know, and then at the same time too, like with those tablets, there's a lot of little educational programs in them, you know, like even religious education, you know, I mean, the purpose of them to stay more connected with your family, you know, all those things right there, they're just, I honestly think it's a step in the right direction. It even, honestly, it kind of humbles you in there. Like, you got your tablet, it kind of makes you think twice about, like, getting in trouble or something like that. You know, I'm about to go catch a 115. The first thing that's going to happen, you're going to get found guilty. They're going to disable your tablet. And now you're just going to be like, damn. Like, in that aspect, too, I mean, it goes both ways, you know. But at the end of the day, like, I think that will help people out, like, with the technology and all that up once they come out. Because I could say, like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's how I do know how to use a phone and all that. Like, that, I mean, there was already phones, but when I came in, but now it's like the newest phones, they're kind of like a little bit difficult. You know?
Yeah, I remember when they first got the tablets, I went to go see him in person, and he's talking about it, and he's so excited, and he just sits there and he's like, I love my tablet. I was like, I love you too. Love you too.
I love the tablets. I'm so glad that we have, because back before then,
so convenient.
Yeah,
so convenient.
Yeah, I would sometimes not get a call. I would go like a day without it because he would get like 1 or 2 calls a day. So.
Yeah.
Can I ask, because I don't know about the California system very much, when did y'all get tablets? Like, is it a recent thing or has it been
maybe like 3 years?
Yeah, we got tablets, I want to say it was 2022. Yeah, like July 2022, because I had the tablet for like 2 years.
It was like a rollout though, so it would hit different facilities at different times. So like one facility would have it, but another one would be months behind. So it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it was like a 1 year program to get all the prisons,
like a pilot maybe.
Yeah, all the prisons fully functioning with them. But even before then, there was like 2 prisons. I want to say it was Sadef and High Desert that had JPay tablets. JPay also offered tablets, but you could only message on them. They had like games. You couldn't call on them. They had like games and messages, music too, stuff like that. But the new ones, the GTI ones that they started giving out, you can call on them. You could FaceTime on them. you could do a lot more on them. You know, basically like what you could do on the phone. You just don't have access to like everything you want to look up. Like you don't have Google on there, and you could, you know, but they got a
You
lot on
got
there.
Crossy Road too. That's the one my husband plays Crossy Road.
Or what did you play? The Jewel one?
Oh, I used to play Candy Crush.
Oh,
Candy Crush. That's right.
it's addicting. I get it.
Well, I was curious about the day that you got out and Lynette, you going to pick him up, the actual homecoming day. What was that like? The emotions, like, can you just kind of walk us through that, like how you were feeling, and then Angel, how you were feeling getting ready to be released?
Oh, I had almost crippling anxiety to the point where when I get so anxious sometimes it almost just shuts everything off for me. So I don't even if I wanted to be, I can't cry. I'm not emotional like that because my nerves are so bad. And I think my nerves had been that way, God, probably for like 2 weeks leading up into his release date. And he'll tell you too, where there's just this doubt, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick him up, and we ran into a little bump right at the end, and I'm thinking they're not gonna let him come home. I'm gonna take my kids for nothing, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna let everyone down, and I can't imagine what. And then when I would stop and think about what he was feeling, I would feel so selfish, like, it's petty. What I'm feeling is petty compared to what he's feeling. I really just did my best just to kind of keep it together and keep it pushing to like business as usual. But inside, I was just going berserk. I was going berserk. I'm not allowed to show those things, because my kids are watching me. My kids are like, are we still going on Sunday? Are you still picking? Are we still, where will we be Saturday? It's your weekend, right? So we'll be with you, right? I have a tournament. We're still doing my tournament Saturday, right? You told my dad that I don't want to play on Sunday because I want to go with you, right? So it's just like, I'm going to make her miss this game. They're probably not going to let him out. Like, my kids are going to be so disappointed. I was a mess. And it just feels like the 2 weeks leading, so it's been like 5 weeks now. The 2 weeks leading up to that release date seemed like a complete fog. They really do. It was just, and it went by like that. Like, you think time drags, it was like a blink of an eye. I felt like I didn't have enough time to do anything. I didn't have enough time to even like catch my bearings and breathe. I told him, I said, when you're finally home and I feel you, I said, I'm probably going to sleep for like 2 days. Like, I need to sleep. And he's like, that's fine. Like, you can sleep. That's how, I don't know if it makes sense. I was just going and going and going and doing my best. And it just felt like it wasn't real, like it wasn't going to happen.
I get overstimulated like that, so I completely understand.
Oh, God, it was terrible. Yeah.
Wow, it'd be a crazy moment.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
for me, I don't know. I guess I can't just say the last couple days. To me, it was more like from the moment I started doing like my parole plans. Because even like, I mean, when you're in there, I mean, sometimes you don't even keep track of time. Like me, I've always been one of those persons where it's like, I'm not going to focus on time because, I mean, I went up with 10 years. I should have probably only did like 6 years out of that 10 years. But here I go getting in trouble, catching more cases. So I caught another case in there, which caught me additional time, and that's what I ended up, that's the time that I was doing like the last 3 years of me being incarcerated. That I had already completed what I was locked up for. And I don't know, for 1 second, I kind of thought like, man, like, am I going to get stuck in here? Like, am I ever going to get out? Like, and then that's when like, you have a, like a life check, reality hits you and like, you're like, you start thinking like, man, I got to start doing something to get out of here. But so I never really kept track of time. I just would be locked up, kind of just live for the moment, whatever. Like, like some people, they stress out the time. They don't know what to do. They just, they let the time get to them. Me, I never been like that. I've always tried to stay, really strong-minded mentally, stay busy, real disciplined when it came to just doing time, because I know no matter what, I was gonna have to do the time regardless, So like once I started getting closer, like I started thinking like it was probably like when I had 1 year left. I was like, damn, I got 1 year left. Like that's it. I don't have years left no more. So I'm still there thinking like, I'm already in the path to do good. I'm working in prison. I'm doing education. I'm doing programs. I'm doing all these things that are allowing me to just get more and more and more time off. So when I had like 12 months left, I was in programs and doing stuff, and then next thing you know, I got some time knocked off. Now I only had like 9 months left, and then it's just going low, low, low. And then my cellie that I was celled up with right there in sat there for like 2.5 years. He went home. And he seeing him go home, he did like 8, 9 years, almost 10. Like seeing him go home, I was like, damn, like I just witnessed this dude go home. I'm next. Like I only had like what 3 more months after, no, like 5 more months after he left. So once the parole lady came to see me, and then I started doing all that, I'm like, damn, like I'm really gonna get out, like.
This guy is so cool and calm. And me, I'll be like throwing up, like just so chill, and I'm the complete opposite. It's like we balance each other out. But when I'm like, how are you not losing it? Like, and that's just always how he's been, like really mellow, really chills, never let the time or the situation kind of do him. He always takes advantage of it. Me, I'm the complete opposite. I mean, he balances me out, but he really has just handled it just well,
Yeah, so once I started going through all the parole stuff, I just, like I knew it was like, okay, they come and see you when you have like 6 months left. They ask you, oh, do you have a residence? They ask you questions, and that's when they kind of categorize you to what you're going to be doing when you come out, like what kind of plans are going to put you in, and stuff like that. So what I did was just go through all that, and the last week, the last week where I was like, okay, I'm going home, like it was just like, okay, like every day you just think like, all right. Then I started getting all my little stuff ready, my little things that I'm taking home with me, and it was cool. It happened, But
Did you
actually,
sleep the night before?
no, I slept the night before.
Everyone
Like,
keeps asking him that. I didn't.
yeah, I slept the night before, and I woke up. One thing I did do was wake up a little bit earlier, but that's just to get ready because I knew I was like, all right, I don't know what time they're gonna come for me. So woke up in the morning, drank a shot of coffee, and just had my little bag ready, And I just next thing you know, they called me, and I was like, oh damn, like I left. And then that's when I went to R&R, changed out my parole package. She packed me, and then next thing you know, I had her in my arms. It was kind of like from the moment you wake up that day, it's just next thing you know, you're already in the car leaving.
Wow.
So it's like, damn, like it's cool.
It's like a fairy tale.
Kind of like, yeah. Yeah, it's real emotional too, like seeing my wife. I seen her real happy. She was crying, seeing the kids. Like man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful feeling.
He got to see his sister. One of his sisters got cleared to visit him, and she saw him very few times during his journey, and the other one could never get approved, and he hadn't seen her in person in over 11 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, so she was crying too. Seeing them, we met up with them, and yeah, it was nice.
wow.
Like it was good seeing them. They were sad, they were real emotional, and just straight kind of like going back into like reality. But things were different. Like they have more kids now, like little ones that I got to meet and stuff like that.
It's crazy because the way that they don't really give a shit about how these guys are going to handle life out here. They don't care.
No.
I've really advocated for my husband, and I've worked my ass off to make life comfortable for him and to establish this and that and relationships before he got released and just stability for him. But to these men that come home and these women that come home and they don't have any of that, they're basically just like, bye. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I remember, I'm telling him there's times when I got out of rehab, I'm like, I came home, I didn't have anything, not a curling iron. I had the shoes and the underwear and bra that I had, and I had nothing. I had no belongings, and nobody cares, like,
No.
here's your gate money. We'll see you later. Bye.
And there's people that have a problem with even gate money. You know what I mean? The little that they give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that in today's economy? Like, how is the under $300 enough by the time you get to where you need to go? to even house you for a night and feed you for half a day. It's not, it's anything. And then they wonder why these people turn back to all that they know to survive, you know? Like, I mean, Angel's blessed, and I'm blessed to be able to provide these things for Angel, but it just makes me, I don't know, I've always had a place in my heart for, you know, addiction and felons and whatnot. And it makes me so sad.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and another thing too is like the way that things are, like there is a lot of resources, there is a lot of programs for like people that don't have family members and stuff like that, you know, but when you're in there, they don't make you understand all these resources that are actually available to you. They're not there like holding your hand and explaining, oh, this is what you got to do this, do that. They're just, kind of, they just think that because you're in there, you know what to do, And like when I was paroling, there was this guy, I think he said he did like 40 something years. Like, come on, like, let's be realistic. He doesn't know what he's getting out to right now. He thinks that his gate money and whatever, he's going to make it out here like it's nothing. Like, it's not, like, preparation matters, and at the end of the day, too, like, what the system fails to do is, like, make you understand, like, the resources that are available that can help you get on your feet and actually have some type of action to be successful, and it's limited, but there is something there.
It's not easily accessible.
Yeah, they don't teach you, here, go do this, go do that. Even the counselors, nowadays, they don't know a lot. Like every counselor, like I want to say like the last 3 years in prison, I had like 7 different counselors. They just keep changing them. Like, you don't have some type of relationship. Like, you go in there, like, they don't even know who you are. All they know is that.
No, I can go in there and be a CC1.
Yeah.
I promise you. I promise you, I can do it. I can do it.
And I'm telling you, like, you know more than them. Like, if you've been locked up a while already, you know more than them. Like, you sit there, you quote the Title 15 with them or something like that, and they don't know, But I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and talk bad about them or anything, but at the end of the day, it's just,
you would think your counselor.
They fail to show
you're
us
gonna help me. You know what I mean? Plan my.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen.
Doesn't.
Yeah, it's sad that there's a disconnect between home, like getting somebody prepared for the life out while you're in. That should be starting, and those resources should be starting kind of while you're preparing that time, those months before, to get you ready. And it's sad that there's such a disconnect there between, getting those resources to you versus just, sending you out there and going, oh, by the way, if you've, later on, there's these places that you can check, but it's just sad to see that disconnect there, because it would make people feel more comfortable. It would give people a better chance of success coming home. So
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to ask both of you, Angel, what advice would you give to some of the men that are still incarcerated who have maybe longer terms, like getting through it, like different things you did to get through it? And then Lynette, maybe for prison wives who still have their husband incarcerated.
Yeah, my best advice I could give you is to just be positive, stay positive, and just do positive things in there. Like I said earlier, like, don't be content with just doing your time. Do your time positively programming. Like, there is things that they offer you to do, vocational, educational programs, all these things that are available, do them, because at the end of the day, like, say you do have life and all that, and a lot of people that have life, I've been around a lot of these guys, so I know how it is. They don't think they're ever gonna get out. Like, that's in your mind, It's like, I got life. I don't care. Like, I don't care about getting raps. I don't care about this. But I, with my own eyes, seen it. A lot of lifers going home, and some lifers that were validated, that done a lot of things that you would think, oh yeah, he's done. He'll for sure never get out. But they still got granted parole, but just from doing good. You have to stay right up free. Just just don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble and build your positive program. Do some schooling, do some college, join these groups. Like me, I didn't have no addiction problems or nothing like that, but I still went to Narcotics Anonymous, Alcohol Anonymous. I went to CGA, 12 Steps with Jesus. I went to all that just so that it could be in my file. I mean, I go in there and participate, pay attention to what these classes have to give you because, it's all knowledge. And then the things you learn from there are everybody's experience. Everybody that's in there with you, their experience. So, you kind of feed off each other. You're on the same predicament, same circumstances, but being there, it's like it's a little room full of unity of everybody going through the same things. For some of us, we might have it easier. Like me, I always consider, like I always tell my wife, like, man, like you make my time so easy. You don't understand, like having you, the sacrifices you make, the things that you make, they help my time. Just it's like a walk in the park, honestly, like for real. Like, and if I didn't have her, it would be 100 times harder. Like having family support too, So those that do have family or that do have wives, that do have girls, be good to them. Don't burn your bridges. Like like if you're doing negative things, having problems with addiction or something like that, like try to get help, go to a program in there, stay away from that, and just do good because doing good and staying positive is gonna help you out. Is gonna help you out to be released one day, like whether it's sooner or later, like it will. Promise you.
I love that. I feel like they should take that from you than anyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
in the beginning of his term, when I met him, this was not the angel that I met. This is not the angel that I met. I was with him when he caught the additional 6 years, and he's really grown. I've seen the transition in him, and he had to take this lesson, this advice that he's given. He had to take it for himself for a while and then kind of put it into action. So he's not just saying, no, do this, do this, do that. He had to apply these things to his own life. And this is how he got it together. And this is how we got to where we're at too, as a couple even,
Yeah, because if I would have still had that same mentality and
came home.
not care, I wouldn't have came home. Like, and by that I mean more than likely I would have caught more time. I would have been, I would have just been with a different mentality, and then I would not be out here right now. I promise you that I wouldn't. I would not be out here. I would still be in there. So that's why I'm telling you, just do good. And at the end of the day, because there's more people incarcerated doing bad than doing good. And at the end of the day, like when something does pass, when you do have action coming your way, they're not going to give it to you if you're doing bad. They're going to give you this action if you're doing good. So that's why I say, like, like be smart.
Stay the course.
Yeah, be smart, because at the end of the day, and believe it or not, they don't want to see you do good in there.
Yeah.
Like, remember, like we're a paycheck. We're a paycheck to the system, From law enforcement in the streets to the COs to the wardens, the counselors, we're a paycheck to them, because without us, they wouldn't have a job. So they don't want you to do good. They want you to stay in there because you're their paycheck. I remember that, But yeah, that's my best advice. Do good.
One thing I've always said, that the system isn't created for us to succeed or for us to beat it. But I've always had this, because I've been on parole and my kid's dad had been on parole more than a few times. And I feel like the only ones that actually want to see you succeed are the parole officers.
Yeah.
Like they really don't want you to go back. Probation, different story. COs and all that, whatever, but even the DAs, but not parole officers. Like parole officers are actually the ones that just kind of want to see you just do right and just succeed.
That's awesome.
Mine did, and I feel like his did, and I feel like the other ones that I came in contact with when it was my kid's dad, the same thing, They all had the same kind of energy, the same attitudes.
So you didn't have to go to like a halfway house or anything when you left?
No, because I had a release date.
Okay, so okay.
You don't have to go to a housing. You can, but say for example, if I have somewhere to come out to, so I didn't have to go to anything like that.
No, that's not true. I went to his initial parole check-in, and he kept showing us his paper, and it started with a C. It was like a criminal something. And so there's these three different areas, and Angel was a low and a green in every single one. I think it was substance abuse, and it was like anger. I think it might have been gangs. I don't know. So he had a low score. I would assume maybe like a low, not recidivism. It would be a low something in all of them, which made him. He didn't have to go to transitional
Wow.
housing, because I think with that amount of time, if his
No,
scores
but
hadn't been higher, then they would have requested him to.
yeah, but the ones that do have to go to transition housing is if you're a lifer. If you're a lifer and you get granted parole, then you have to go to transitional housing. I wasn't a lifer. I never had a life. I've always had a date. So regardless, like, I want to say it didn't matter what I scored. I was gonna come out here. But if say I would have went transient, like I didn't have an address, then I could probably enroll into one of those ones. But you have to do that beforehand. And me, I have my wife. You know, I have an address to come home to. So that's why I was able to just come out here like that. You know. But if you're a lifer, then you do have to go to because I even know lifers in there that got granted paroles, got granted boards, and they couldn't go home to their wives. They had to go to transitional housing.
I know a few of my husband's friends who had life that got out that had to go to transitional housing, and I'm like, oh, that's so stressful to even think about, to put them in that environment.
Yeah.
But at least it's not in prison.
That's true.
You know? But yeah.
Yeah, totally. Lynette, what advice do you have for prison wives? Like, how did you get through this journey on the hard nights?
Honestly, balance. Like, if I was so big on making sure that I maintained like a healthy balance. So I wasn't at the prison every single weekend. Even sometimes when I could be, I wasn't, because I had kids that I was raising. I had a job that I had to work. I had sometimes even things that I wanted to do with my friends and traveling. And I feel like, had I thrown everything, all of my energy and all of my time just into visiting, like, I would have missed out on certain things that helped me grow as an individual, and could have potentially caused like a lot of resentment between he and I. And I also think now, had I not made those sacrifices, I wanted to see him every weekend. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to be there every single Saturday, every single Sunday. When it came all the Fridays, I'm so glad that I didn't, because I invested just as much time in my kids and my outside life. And so now when Angel came home, my kids don't feel any type of way about Angel. They don't feel like they missed out on having me in their lives because I left them to go see him. So I went to see him when my kids were with their dad. And I worked really hard on standing on my own 2 feet and being like a whole woman, and then taking that into my marriage. Because when we tried in the beginning, and even in the beginning of our marriage, I was a mess. I was still struggling with a cocaine addiction. I was drinking heavily, and I had to invest in myself, and I had to decide to get sober and work on myself. And all I could do was kind of encourage him sometimes from afar, and that's all that he could really do for me. And it's really important to have balance. That's in my opinion, that's what saved my marriage. It's what saved my relationship with my kids. It's what's kept me kind of sober, and all of these things. Like, it's just healthy balance.
The way you guys grew your relationship.
But if my whole entire life was just this sentence. And another thing, I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but this is how I say it. Like, he was locked up, not me. He was locked up. So why am I going to be doing time while he's doing time? We're a reflection of each other. So why can't I be out here thriving and hitting these milestones? Like, hey, I got us an apartment. It's my first time ever having a place on my own. Hey, I actually got a new vehicle. Like, if I'm winning out here, my husband's winning in there, and I have to, like, that's important too,
Totally. And it's important that he supported that.
Just because he's doing this time, it doesn't mean that I'm locked down too, and I'm slammed down too. Like, I have this opportunity to kind of live and to thrive, so that when he comes out, we're not here, we're here, because I've just been kind of pushing forward, you know?
That's awesome. You guys have any fun vacations or anything planned now? Or are you just going to chill? Or
We're gonna try to go to Disneyland. I already asked the parole officer. He's like, yeah, let me just fill you out for a few months. I wouldn't mind giving you a travel pass. I'm actually leaving the country without him in August. I'm gonna celebrate my third anniversary, my 3 years of sobriety. So I'm taking off to the Netherlands and to Spain.
oh, awesome.
And that's something that we talked about. I
Wow.
planned this before he came home. It's also something that we talked about, and he's just the freaking best. He's like, no, like that's a huge milestone. I want you to celebrate it. You work hard for it. I plan these trips almost like as an incentive. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to stay sober. I'm going to pledge to stay on this journey until then. And then because some days it is, some days I can only make it like hour to hour. I can only promise to stay sober until the next day. And so he's been really like encouraging and really supportive in this trip. I mean, I felt a little bad leaving him, but hopefully in the following in 2025, we'll be able to go together.
That's awesome. You guys work so well together. I love it. It's like even more than just on the outside, like what you see on like TikTok and stuff. It's just like you guys just are like perfect together. I'm sure you already knew that, seeing as you got married, but
I think what it is, we're good with communicating with one another. Like I've known her because I mean we've had our ups and downs as well. Like she was we were together in prison, then we have separated, then we got back together, then we got married. So like there's ups and downs. But at the end of the day, it takes two to make the marriage work, the relationship, to build trust, to just. Because without trust and communication, there's really nothing.
yeah.
Like why even be with someone and love too? You gotta have like genuine love and another thing. See, like you guys as also as being prison wives, like that like this type of relationship is different than from just a relationship with someone out there. Us that we're doing time in prison. It's more of a emotional connection that you get to know. Like you get to know everything about each other. Favorite color, favorite number, favorite movie, favorite place to go.
What's my favorite movie?
Mean Girls. No, but you get to know each other on a whole different level. You talk about the hard things in life you went through. You know that person. You really like. Can a lot of people really say they know who they're with?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really know like your partner? Like I'm pretty sure there's a lot of relationships out here that they just meet and then next thing you know they're together. Like
they do the monkey dance.
Yeah, they do the monkey dance, and next thing you know they build their relationship off of that. But in terms of how we build ours with connecting emotionally, really getting to know each other deep down, I mean that's really where it's at, And then two, like more advice I give for those men incarcerated, like respect your girl, treat her right, trust her. Like at the end of the day, like with those key words right there, you will go a long ways with your relationship, because I mean it's not an easy thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's a good thing to do. You stay more connected like that. Your relationship is more healthier. It lasts forever. And then you don't want to be fighting and arguing and doing all that. That's just putting holes in your relationship. At the end of the day, you got to find somebody you're compatible with. Someone that you love, someone that you could vibe with and build with. And I mean, that's how I feel. I feel right here with my wife. And so far,
you better.
so far,
you better feel that way about me.
Like I don't like the easiest way to explain it. Like coming out here, like it didn't take me no time. I felt comfortable, like from the moment I stepped foot in this place right here, in this little house where we stay. Like comfortable with the kids, I'm comfortable. I've been knowing them too. Like I've always talked to them through the phone, FaceTime them. And
you met the kids in person.
No, I met them in person too, but more like always communicating through phone, and I'm there asking them questions. I know about them, and then I know a lot about them too through Lynette. Like, oh, I gotta do this for the kids today, practice. Oh, I gotta go pick them up, appointment. Everything she has to do. Then you get to know. So it's like you're not just coming out to like not knowing nothing. Like we're a part of like our life, and their goals round and round to your guys' life out here. Like that's what our days consist of.
That's why we have to be productive out here as a prison wife, pushing forward and just moving.
And us, we got to be encouraging. We're encouraging to that,
I love that. You guys are a great staple for.
Love that. That's such wise words right there.
Yeah. Like that, you'll build like that, You'll feel the love, you'll feel the energy. I mean, at the end of the day, like, man, I mean, it's just it's a relationship, but just one that you really feel like you know who you're with.
It's like you have no choice but to know everything.
Yeah, for sure. The ups and downs, all of it.
Well, Gigi, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask? That
I was just curious because this was one of the questions Paige wrote down, because I'm also a zodiac junkie kind of thing, like a zodiac person. What are y'all's zodiac signs?
We're
just
both
curious.
Gemini's. Are you a Gemini too?
Team Gemini.
There's something about the signs that that are the like, because Joseph and my husband and I are both Cancers, so it's like we attract.
Yeah, my sister's a Cancer.
So is my brother. So you guys maybe end of June, July?
I'm July, yep.
Yeah.
I'm June, he's May. What's your birthday? Gigi. Yeah.
Mine? Oh, May 26th.
That's his birthday.
For real. Is that stop.
That's his birthday, yeah.
Really?
Trip out, right? Yeah.
We're twins.
Look, I swear to God. We were at Target?
Oh,
we're at Target, and the cash register, right? She's just like, she was being cool. She was like, "Oh, what do you guys got going on? What do you guys got planned? This and that." Like, she's at the register, just talking to us out of nowhere, right? So we're just telling her. She's like, "Yeah, I like the vibe, this and that." She's like, "What are you guys?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a Gemini." I'm a Gemini too. Yeah, so we keep talking, and she goes like, "When's your birthday?" She's like, "My birthday's May 26th." I'm like, "So is mine."
I'm like, "Not you stealing my man right before my very eyes."
So that's the second time that has happened. And that's weird. In prison, sometimes I'll just be chilling, right? And I'll wake up from a nap, or I'll just randomly look at the time, and it'll be 5:26. And I'll be like, "What the?" That's weird.
Well, he's not cool.
That's a sign. That's a good sign. See, that number.
I know, and
that number comes soon.
And there's a lot of people that don't have. I always feel like I'm the only one with that birthday. So it's awesome that you meet people out in public that have the same, and then we have the same. That's cool. That's awesome.
Cool. We love astrology stuff, so I'm glad that you asked that, because I was going to, but I refrained.
Yeah.
But that's all that I have. Thank you guys so much. I'm so happy that you were able to come on and talk with us and carve some time out.
Yeah, it was nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime, anytime you guys...
Anytime you want to hang out, birthday twin.
Anytime you guys think of more questions or something, feel free. If we have the time, we'll do it. You guys met my wife through social media, and I'm always going to be supportive of everything my wife, Man, like right now, I was taking a nap.
I was like, "Wake up, it's time."
Yeah, I was taking a nap, and she's like, "Get up." I'm like, "Oh, man."
Teamwork.
Let's go.
Teamwork.
Yes, teamwork. Gotta keep your wife happy. Happy wife, happy life.
Happy life.
Exactly. Oh my God.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to get into those questions and comments you left us on Friday. So every Friday, if you don't know, on our Instagram, we put up a story to leave us a question or a comment or a rant or event, whatever you want to do, cry, laugh, whatever you want to do. And you can always leave it there for us, or you can always hit us up on our Speak Pipe, where you can leave us a voicemail anytime. It doesn't have to be Friday. It can be anytime. So if you just need to talk it out with somebody, or if you need to vent or you have a question or a concern, please go to our link tree and hit us up on the Speaky Pipes. That's what I call it, but it's speakpipe.com. It has our link and you can leave us a voicemail, and you can also do it anonymously. So yeah. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the DMs. All right. Okay. Well, I did have a comment from our Spotify that I wanted to share. This was from last week's pod. She said, I love this podcast, from Molly May, excuse me. I love this podcast. It's real, raw, and gives hope, comfort, and a sense of knowing you are not on this journey alone. Thank you, ladies, for your bravery and determination. I look forward to every episode. Thank you so much, Molly May, for that sweet comment. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I apologize. And that was from Apple. This one is from Spotify. It is anonymous. I feel so alone in my current situation. It's incredible to hear you guys and know that there are so many of us out there. I would love if you could share the groups you ladies belong to.
Oh, well, Love Within Walls on Facebook. If you search that, that is our group, not even just a group we belong to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really I'm a member of a bunch of Facebook groups, but I don't actively participate. There's a bunch of California ones and stuff, but the one that I actively can endorse is ours. So
yeah, and Love Within Walls. I will say there's groups for every little niche within the prison wife community. There's big groups. There's also very small groups that are more intimate, that deal with just MWI couples or just 20+ year couples. There's those two. I will say that I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Love Within Walls is the best anyway, but it is. It's a very supportive group. But I know you can find one that you feel is the best for you. That's what I would say. I would also caution you in those big groups. There's some groups that are 10,000, 30,000 people. Those tend to be a little bit more messy for me. I just see the messiness in them. So just be careful. It's important you find a group that you feel supported in, that you feel that you can put information out there or ask questions. If you're feeling a certain type of way, and get that support that you need. All right, next one from Taylor, our girl Taylor. She was on a roll. She said, she was our first one. She said, can we just say, fuck the prison system real quick? Scamming ass bitches.
Retweet.
I'm clapping with you, boo. I'm clapping with you. All right. Our next one is from Lulu. Always. We love Lulu and her questions. Does your men have supportive family members or old friends?
Joseph has a very supportive family. He has a rather big family too. It extends. He is actually, he was technically adopted, but his biological side of his father's family wasn't really involved in his life until he went to prison. So it's almost like his family kind of grew in that sense. So he's still very close with, of course, his mom, his dad, his siblings, his cousins, grandparents, very close with them. He doesn't have any friends that he is still in contact with that he was friends with out here. Like I said before, I think his cousin is probably, or was one of his best friends. But he has been incarcerated for I was going to say 24 years, 14 years. So he hasn't really kept any solid friendships beyond that, which I could imagine would be hard.
Yeah. Michael did have supportive family members. He had his mom was his biggest supporter. Unfortunately, in 2021, she passed away. And I had to deliver that news to him, which was very hard. He and her had a very, very close relationship. He still has a relationship with his stepfather. He talks to him on occasion, but now that his mother has passed, he hasn't visited. Um, he does have one friend on the outside that he's been in communication with this whole time he's been incarcerated. I refer to her as my sissy. She's almost like my sister-in-law. That's the one that I've told people, like, we didn't have a great relationship in the beginning, but now we're like sisters. So, and she does visit him on occasion. He stays in contact with her on the phone, through email, things like that. So he does have a very limited amount of people that support him, but they are there. They are there. So yeah. All right. Our next question is from our amazing admin, Carly. What is your advice for handling conflict? Paige, I feel like you're really good at this.
Wow, what a compliment.
Yeah, you are, because you handle those mean TikTok people like I don't know what.
I mean, I don't know what I guess what context conflict, like I guess I'll just answer in general.
I guess any conflict.
I've learned I'm very hot-headed, and I am very emotional. And if anything, I've learned it's really good to wind those in when you're dealing with conflict, because no matter what, the other person you're dealing with a lot of the time will use those as like marks against you to take you less seriously. So I feel like handling conflict in, a calm, slow tone is the best, because I've had really good experience with that. Even like when people have come at me or tried to come at me for things, like even calmly, slowly, like restating it back to them and being like, so you're asking me, like letting them hear what they're saying. And that's how I've had the most success, just because then they usually stop. You're not giving them what they want, which is a reaction, in my opinion.
I agree. And I'll admit, I'm also, I don't get angry a lot, but when I get angry, watch out. And I don't handle conflict very well because I'm very reactionary sometimes. I find the best thing for me to do is to walk away. That I know it's not always, you can't always do that. And I'm not saying do that every time, but there are some people you just can't give that energy to, because that's what they want.
Yep.
They want you to blow up on them. And so I've had to learn to cut all ties. There have been some people that had called my best friends that did me dirty, and I was so angry and I wanted to rage out. And I just, at this point, if they come, that I've had them come and still talk to me, nope, I just block, don't respond, because I know that giving them that response is giving them power. So that's for me. Now I have been getting better with conflict. And I do what Paige just said. Like, I have to take a second because I get that.
Yep, me too.
So I have to take a second, and I have to do I do 5 deep breaths before I respond, because that helps me think about what I'm going to say, think about how I'm going to react. And sometimes, silence also, I do that before I respond verbally, or, through the computer or whatever mode you're communicating. But for the most part, I just find silence is the best answer, because people try to get into conflict with you to get something out of you. And like Paige said, to use that weakness against you. So I don't know if my advice is great, but it works for me.
I think it's good.
But those deep breaths really do help, because it makes you calmer. It calms your nervous system down, and it makes your brain start working, so where you're thinking about what you want to say. And I love what Paige said about taking what they're saying and restating it to them, so they hear exactly what's coming out of their mouth. I think that's really bomb.com. All right. Our next question from Bars and Redemption is: best advice to make your relationship work as an inmate?
Where's Angel when we need him? I think Angel might have answered
know,
actually
right?
that
I think Angel definitely
that
answered
question's
that
been
in
answered.
our
So
interview for sure. Yeah. All right. This one comes from Des, one of our amazing members of Love with the Malls. She said, have you ever had to deal with drama from any of your man's exes? Great question.
I have not. Nope. I don't ever see that being an issue in our relationship, at least. What about you, Gigi?
I have not. Well, I'm going to say yes and no. I haven't personally dealt with Michael's ex, but she has tried to come back into the picture by talking to Michael. And should we do a quick? I'll do a brief story time. So yeah, because you need this tea. All right, so he was with his ex for I guess about 3 to 4 years, maybe I would say 3 years. I think they were together. And obviously she did him very dirty. She got with one of his best friends. He found out, he broke it off, and was actually like living with him. So, and they were engaged. Michael and this woman were engaged. So he broke it off. Well, him and I met we first rode in August, and we had our first visit in the end of November. She contacted him around Christmas time of 2016, trying to get back into his good graces. And he did not respond. She sent him money and an email. Yeah. And he didn't respond. He let me know what happened. And, he's very open with me about stuff like that. And I kind of did some snooping when I found out that happened. And she had all kind of stuff of him up on her page. Like, it was just kind of odd. So I think she was
like today still.
Yeah, she even still has her Facebook account with his last name.
And they didn't even get married.
No. So yeah, So I don't. I've never dealt with her. I know. My sister, ma'am. My sister-in-law has talked to her since we've been together and kind of told her
shoe fly.
I think she also came back around when we put out the documentary that Michael and I were in. She came around when that was coming out. So I've never dealt with her, but other people have dealt with her. And I think finally my sister-in-law kind of told her, he's in love. He's happy. He's the happiest he's ever been. She's brought the family together. She is amazing. She is the light in his life.
Yeah.
Back the fuck
period.
up, So I never had to deal with her personally, but she was kind of coming in and out at some point, trying to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
bye, girl.
Yeah, that was
bye, Felicia.
Bye, boo. Peace out. Have a nice life. Yeah. Last one before I get to the question. Taylor said, just came to say you are sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, y'all. Just came to say you two are truly amazing. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have found this podcast, you two, this community, and the feeling of finally not being alone in this. There is a lot to be said about the stigma surrounding us and loving someone incarcerated, and just the whole thing in itself. It's awful, the instant judgment and hate we endure. Having people like Paige and Gigi step up and open that door did the rest of us something I'm forever fucking grateful for! ! I truly cannot even say thank you enough. Please never stop.
I'm like, stop. Why was that so much?
Oh my God.
That was so much more in my feelings than when I read it the first time.
My eyes are getting so, okay. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Taylor, still my heart.
I cried so much this week, or else I'd probably be crying now. I don't know if I have any more tears. I had a long week.
Girlfriend, thank you so much for that.
That is so. I mean,
you make it so real.
Seriously, because when we record this, obviously we know that people watch because they tell us and stuff. But when we do it, it's
Yeah.
just upwarding and it's just us, and it's like doesn't feel like you're really like doing, like it feels like we're doing some, you know what I mean? Like the way that people communicate to us, that
Yeah.
it makes it feel a lot better.
It's time for the shout out. Shout out. Give them shout, give them clout. Paige, do you have a shout out today?
I don't. I'm gonna leave that all to you.
Ooh, okay. I have a shout out to Miss Cherie, I think it's Cherie M. Smith at Cherie M. Smith 1 on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. She had a wonderful quote today that I screenshotted. Just to give you a little background on Miss Cherie Smith, she is in charge of a nonprofit called Open Gate Transitional Services of Florida. It is a vocational, educational, housing, employment, healthcare for the homeless and for formerly incarcerated veterans. So if you need anything in regards to resources, if you know somebody, or you know somebody coming out that is a formerly incarcerated veteran, please go, and you're in Florida, please go to opengatesflorida.org. It's based out of Jacksonville. And she had an amazing quote today, and I want to share this with you because I thought it would be perfect for our Potty Pod. Cherie M. Smith quoted today, "Prison wife, a journey through unseen depths, where love speaks not in touches but in whispers, growing stronger in the spaces between." So shout out to Cherie for that wonderful quote today. And shout out to Open Gates, Florida, to Open Gate Transitional Services of Florida, and opengatesflorida.org for being a beacon of light and to people that need support, whether they're incarcerated or homeless. But I just love that quote today. So thank you for posting that. So shout out, shout out. All right. And
Meme of the week?
say, huh?
Meme of the week?
It's time for our meme game. It's time for the meme of the week. Paige, what you got?
Well, we've got a classic, a little bit of a remake to make it a prison meme. We've got one side of the screen, you looking your best, ready to walk in and see your man type at your computer, or see your man through a video screen the best you can, versus how you pick up those video calls now. And I'm sure anyone can relate, because this is okay. My screen is so dirty. I'm so sorry. First off, that's sick.
Oh, cute. That's the face I make now. Yeah.
After having family visits, that man has seen me at my absolute -0. So fresh out the shower, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you can see me in any stance now. I don't care.
Yeah. At this point, Michael's seen me with makeup, without makeup. So
Yep.
You getting whatever I want. If I don't want to do my hair for a visit one day, I ain't doing it, honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll do my nails. That's the only thing I'll do is my nails.
Meanwhile, I'm the opposite.
Makeup. Oh, those are pretty though. You have pretty natural nails, Paige.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Mine
Thanks.
break all the time. You just look nice and long.
Ever since I got pregnant, I've been able to grow my nails out.
Nice.
Before
Did you want to show your little thing that your e-card?
Yeah.
Please show the e-card.
I can show a few of them. Anyone who has a tablet in the California system, I know you're familiar with these e-cards that you can send your men. This one was one of my favorites. You used to call me on my cell phone. I send these to Joe at random times with no context. I sent him this one.
I love it. Man down. Nice.
Why is that one that you can send? You know what I mean?
I don't know, but that's awesome. We don't have that. That's amazing. We have e-cards, but they're like cheesy. Can't wait to hear your voice soon. Aww. She looks over life right now.
I know. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I got to make use of the goofy shit they give us.
Hey, use it. You got to use it.
Exactly.
All right, y'all. Well, we hope you enjoyed our interview with Lynette and Angel and all the other segments that we have. Please hit us up. If you have a question, comment, add us on Instagram. Love within, no, what was it? Sorry. Add us on Instagram at A Prison Wife Podcast on Insta. And what is our TikTok page?
Prison Wife Podcast.
Y'all, like, share, subscribe. Help us take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Please. We love y'all. We want to take over the world, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see y'all next week. We hope you enjoyed this pod, and we will see y'all on the next hump day.
Hump day. Have a good day, friends.
All right. Y'all have a great day, great weekend, and we'll see you next week. We love you. Muchos besitos. And hey, I found my twin today. Just saying.
Yeah.
Found my twin.
Twin.
We're twinning. Hashtag twinning at life. Love you, Angel. Love you, Lynette. Thank y'all so much. All right, y'all. Peace. Love. Elbow grease.
We're delusional, okay? We're delusional. It's
All right.
gone.
Love you guys.